G'day, Aussie Bonsai Bloke, here you go. Well, today guys, look at this bushy bugger. We've got the eucalypt red gum. I'm going to work on it, get it back into some sort of shape. The idea today is just to do a bit of a quick trim, shorten the shoots, take them back to 2 shoots per location because these are quite inclined to push out 3. Probably keep stronger shoots at the bottom, weaker shoots at the top like I always do, especially with most of the tree species we have. Bush species are a bit different. Sometimes you have to keep the weaker ones at the bottom, stronger ones on the top because they like to grow at the bottom. But for this tree, keep weaker 2 shoots on top if there's more than 2 coming from any location. Cut them back hard. And this will increase the division in the tree. So you can see this thing's really grown, super healthy. I fertilise this red gum with full normal fertiliser. I don't do any special native fertiliser, nothing like that. And it seems fine and happy with that. So I'm just going to go in literally and just give it a quick clean up prune. This is not going to be, damn it, I've lost my scissors. Alright, I've got to find my scissors. Hang on a second. Okay, guys. Alright. Got my scissors. Let's get in here and clean it up. Generally, I want to keep upright branches as well. Like I said, weaker at the top, stronger branches at the bottom. And bear in mind, the red gum does like to shed some limbs, but like I've said last year, I'm going to try it again this year, full defoliation, and see whether it promotes more growth and to keep growth. It seems to have worked this last year when I gave it a full defoliation. But one thing I will say is I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to trim it back pretty hard, get rid of a lot of these shoots, and then I reckon the defoliation I'm going to leave till the midsummer, which is when I did it last year because it worked so well last year that I'm going to leave it until mid-summer. So let's get in here and get rid of this growth. I'll just bring in as close as I can without losing the outside of the tree. I know I've been a bit slack on bringing you guys in close to have a look. Unfortunately, we're still in a normal tub. One day I want to put it in a nursery pot. It's probably almost deserving of one. Right, where do we start? Well, let's just get in here and hack it back. Just cutting them all back short. And I'm going to make a mess on the floor because it's quicker to make a mess on the floor and clean it up later than it is to try and work cleanly without making a mess. Sometimes, you know, if you've only got a few cuts to do, well, it's fine just to make a, you know, keep it clean as you go. But for me, we've got a lot of cuts to do here right now, so let's just cut away, dump it on the ground, clean it up later. So yeah, basically I'm just chopping back to a short, you know, internode, and if the internode that I'm cutting back to is too long, I'm cutting it right back to the start. I'm not going to muck around with a long, crappy internode. If the internode's too long and the leaves are too big, I'm just going to chop it right back to nothing and let it shoot out again, and hopefully next time it shoots out the internode and the leaf size is reduced. But I will say one thing too, the red gum, to start with I was worried it was not reducing. The internode lengths were, you know, pretty sparse, a long way apart. But over time, this thing has settled down and it's now giving me some nice, really close internode length. A lot of usable stuff now, and I think that's just due to branch division. Some people say, I'll get into another bit of a tangent right now if you guys are willing to listen. But some people are so hell-bent on what soil that you use, and to be honest, I don't really give a crap what soil you use. Use whatever's cheap, whatever you can find, and whatever suits your environment. For me, this succulent mix, Osmocote succulent mix seems to work fine. If I can get the Debco bonsai mix, great, because that's actually a pretty good mix as well. But people get hell-bent on what you use, and whether you're using Akadama or diatomaceous earth, or you're mixing pumice in with it, or you've got a bit of sphagnum moss in your mix, or pine bark, whatever. And people are so hell-bent on that, and they pretty well tell you that's the thing that controls the outside growth of the tree. What the roots are doing is what the top's doing. I agree with them to a certain point, but I will, stray a different way here in saying that if your roots are healthy, your tree's healthy. Okay, so there is a direct correlation between how healthy your roots are to how healthy your top is. But people are getting hell-bent on the fact that you have to have some sort of abrasive media in your soil to get branch division up top. Okay, so they're saying that if you can make your branches hit into a sharp rock, roots hit into a sharp rock, sort of sever the root and then it divides up, it'll mimic that at the top. Okay, maybe to a certain extent it does. I'm no scientist, but I'll tell you what I found more important than that is just the fact that you go in and keep trimming it back, creating more branching, and the more branching that you create, the more that the tree then wants to, produce smaller and smaller internodes and smaller leaves, because it's got more twigs and more whatever to, spread the energy through. So the idea is that then the energy has to be spread a lot further over a lot more branching, and that's what I believe creates the is the key to it. Soil, yeah, okay, fine, maybe it does do something, but the way I think of it is if you've got a soil mix where the roots are growing strong and long, well, the top is going to grow strong too. And as long as you keep on it and keep trimming it back all the time. So here there's a massively long internode. I'm going to cut that back. I'm going to cut all of these back actually. Maybe leave one long one. But as long as you keep on it and keep trimming and whatever, you can use that really strong, vigorous growth from vigorous roots to your advantage. You can just keep cutting. And because the roots are growing so strong and long in a more organic medium, your top can then be cut back up to 3 or 4 times per year, which is definitely what happens with these red gums. But that's just my thought on it, and you do got to take it with a grain of salt too. I live in Australia, as you guys know, Aussie Bonsai Bloke. But in Australia, we do get hot summers, and organic's fine for us because it gets so damn hot. And as long as the roots can breathe enough, which they seem to be able to just on the Osmocote succulent mix, I find that good enough. But anyway, I'll get off that subject because it is controversial. Everyone goes on and on about soil. What soil do you use? Do you mix it up? Have you ever thought about using different soil, this and that? You know what, I don't care, I just really don't care. Just use whatever you want to use. At the end of the day, we're dealing with a potted plant. Same as something that you put out on your front veranda. You know, someone that puts out a magnolia potted up on their front veranda, there is no bloody difference between that or what we're doing here in bonsai. No difference at all. It's just a potted plant, and as long as that potting medium promotes health in the tree and you fertilise it like you should, that's all that bloody matters. So everyone get off their high horse about what soil you use, because it doesn't really matter. If you're in a wet climate, use more inorganic free draining. If you're in a hot climate like me in Australia, use, you know, more organic, less draining things. And that goes to say too that not everyone in Australia has, you know, a hot climate, because there is actually some cold climates in Australia, believe it or not, and they might want more inorganic mixes in their soil. So we're just going through, chopping it back. I'm not too worried if I do leave 3 from any one location, because midsummer we're going to go back, fully defoliate this tree, and then you know, get a bit more selective on the shoots. I don't find that these trees don't seem to swell up where there's 3 at one location too badly. So for the fact of leaving it on for another couple of months is not a big deal. So if you leave 3 at one location, so be it. Cut it off when we do the defoliation, which is what I'll do. Basically, I'm just shortening everything now to let more light in and let shoots that maybe not have grown too strong, let them grow, and then hopefully everything will have good health, and I'll give the tree a full defoliation again in summer like I did last year, which really did seem to work out great. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, by the way, I've got Joseph Watt's Aussie Bonsai Bloke shirt that he made for me. I'm wearing that, so that's pretty cool. Thanks, Joseph, for the t-shirt, mate. I did do a bit of an unboxing, but I think it was on a fairly involved video, so not too many comments came about his t-shirt, but I do really appreciate it. It's really cool to get a Aussie Bonsai Bloke t-shirt made from Joseph. Council worker in the US, and he loves his job, passionate about his job, and rightly so, looking after the community. Okay, here we've got a bit of a ghoul, and I'll tell you what that ghoul is from. It's from a wasp that lays its egg in the branch, and it's actually fine to leave it on. I'm going to leave it on. Guys probably can't see it too well at all from back there. Alright, I won't be lazy, I'll bring you in close. So what happens is a wasp lays its egg in the branch, and then what happens is the baby wasps come out and basically attack the insects and caterpillars and bugs that are on your tree, and that is the whole point of them. So I'll leave them on. Good natural defense for your bonsai. Right, we're getting pretty close to trimming up this, fully trimmed up this tree. Ready for another lot of growth before the full defoliation midsummer. Maybe in the future, maybe I might try and defoliate this redgum twice, see how it handles it. I I'm a little bit apprehensive on doing that though, because one seems to be going pretty good for the tree, and I've been looking after this tree now for almost the whole time I've been doing bonsai, 12 years. Been looking after this tree, and I'm getting really keen, really fond of this tree and how it just keeps giving and giving. And as you can see, like, people say that the native gum doesn't reduce leaves too well. Well, I mean, yeah, look at the size of some of these leaves. I just cut one off just for the heck of it. If you don't think that's getting reduced very well, well, who knows. But a lot of the new leaves are getting like that. Well, they're older leaves actually on the inside of the branching. And another misconception is that they drop, well, it's not a misconception, it's true. They do drop branching when they get a bit weaker, because that's the way the tree survives. So there is some dead branches in here around the place. But through different techniques, i.e. defoliating in summer, we seem to be able to keep a lot of these shoots now without losing any shoots. In actual fact, I think you'll agree, this tree's probably actually got too many shoots on it. But I'm happy to keep too many shoots on it. There's crossing branches and inward growing branches, but I'm just going to leave everything. Let the tree decide what it wants to keep and what it wants to shed. But at the moment, I'll tell you what, growing absolutely awesome. No worries guys, I'll just come back to the camera and have a look. See whether there's any obvious, you know, it's good to come back to the camera. Any obvious weird points need addressing? Okay, I reckon there's a couple. So you come back to the camera, have a bit of a look around, and I can see at least 3. It becomes really obvious when you look at the camera. So there's this one here. I think this one here needs a hard cut back. Does that look pretty ugly? This one here needs a hard cut back because that goes up into the top and looks pretty ugly. So that's gone. And there was another one. Let me just go back to the camera again. Quite often it's the way to look at things. Work out what looks ugly. This one. Alright, so I'm going to cut this back and hopefully it back buds, because there was a big long straight section there. I'll cut it right off. There's another ghoul down here actually. And then I'll come back to the camera, have another last look. Obviously you can't cut everything off or it's going to really put the tree back. Put you guys down a bit, better angle. I think that's pretty good for now. I think we'll leave it at that. I'm pretty happy with that, as it's, you know, spring prune. And then we'll let it grow again and defoliate it midsummer. And, you know, do a bit more selective pruning then. Some more detailed selective pruning, because there is a few sections where I've left 3 on, but in general it's pretty good. Cool. Alright, a few little spots where I've missed a branch. There's a lot of branches on this tree. Alright, cool guys, cheers for watching. Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your mates about the channel. Give you a bit of a spin on the way out. I hope to get this guy into a decent pot one day. Be really cool to get into a decent pot. There's a big branch here. Look at this. That one there was just growing up into the rest of the branching, and it's gone now. So there you go. Yeah, it'd be really cool to get this into a decent pot one day that suits it. pretty cool. Eucalyptus, definitely something worth trying. So cheers for watching, tell your mates, and I'll give you a spin. And I hope I didn't offend too many people talking about soil, but just use what works for you, what you're happy with, what you feel good about. What someone else uses doesn't matter, doesn't affect you. And if they're getting success using what they're doing, it's up to them. And also remember too, that their success with a certain soil depends on how much they water, and they're willing to water as well. So there's so many variables as into what soil you want to use. Okay, cool. Give you a bit of a close look at the tree. And we'll catch you next time. Cheers. So it's actually one tree that sort of runs across the ground here.